The world was becoming increasingly connected, a web of smart devices promising convenience and efficiency. But in the shadows lurked individuals like Alex, who saw not progress, but opportunity. He wasn't driven by malice, not exactly. It was more like a game to him, a puzzle to solve. He possessed a sharp mind, honed by years of coding and a natural curiosity for how things worked. Unfortunately, his moral compass wasn't quite as developed as his technical skills. Alex wasn't interested in stealing identities or causing widespread chaos. He preferred a more direct approach, breaking into smart homes and taking physical goods. He saw it as a victimless crime, almost. Insurance would cover the losses, he reasoned, and the homeowners would simply upgrade to the latest gadgets. It was a twisted logic, but it justified his actions in his own mind. He spent hours researching vulnerabilities in popular smart home systems. He learned how to bypass security protocols, disable alarms, and unlock doors remotely. He practiced in a virtual environment, perfecting his techniques until he could slip through digital defenses like a ghost. He preferred targeting affluent neighborhoods, where the homes were filled with expensive electronics and designer goods. His apartment was a chaotic mix of computer equipment, empty energy drink cans, and discarded takeout containers. He worked late into the night, fueled by caffeine and the thrill of the challenge. He saw himself as a modern-day Robin Hood, except instead of giving to the poor, he was taking for himself. He'd even started a small collection of high-end headphones, each one a trophy from a successful heist. He felt a rush every time he bypassed a new security system, proving his skills and outsmarting the corporations that promised foolproof protection. He was confident, maybe even a little arrogant, convinced that he was untouchable. He was about to learn a very hard lesson. His confidence stemmed from his meticulous research. He didn't just stumble upon vulnerabilities, he actively sought them out, dissecting the code of smart devices like a surgeon. He frequented online forums where hackers shared information and traded exploits. He learned about buffer overflows, weak encryption algorithms, and default passwords that manufacturers often overlooked. One of his favorite targets was alarm systems. He discovered that many systems used the same outdated wireless protocol, making them susceptible to a simple replay attack. He could record the signal that disarmed the alarm and then replay it later, effectively silencing the system without triggering any alerts. Door locks were another easy target. Many smart locks relied on Bluetooth, which he found was relatively easy to intercept and manipulate. He could spoof the signal from a homeowner's smartphone, unlocking the door as if he were authorized. He even found a way to exploit smart thermostats. By subtly adjusting the temperature remotely, he could make it seem like the homeowners were away, prompting them to turn off the lights and lower the blinds, making the house appear unoccupied. He chuckled to himself, thinking of the irony. Devices designed to make life easier were actually making it easier for him to steal. He kept a detailed log of his findings, documenting each vulnerability and the steps required to exploit it. It was his personal playbook, a testament to his skills and a guide for future heists. He knew that the smart home industry was constantly evolving, so he had to stay ahead of the curve. He was always on the lookout for new vulnerabilities, new exploits, new ways to outsmart the system. He felt like a digital ninja, silently moving through the network, unseen and unheard. But even the most skilled ninja can make a mistake, and Alex was about to make a big one. The next few weeks were a blur of successful intrusions. One house after another fell victim to Alex's digital prowess. He developed a routine: scout the neighborhood, identify potential targets, probe their smart home devices for weaknesses, and then execute his plan. He moved with precision and speed, leaving no trace behind. First, there was the Johnson residence on Elm Street. A quick scan revealed an outdated alarm system and a vulnerable smart lock. Alex disabled the alarm with his replay attack, then spoofed the Bluetooth signal to unlock the front door. He was in and out in under 15 minutes, netting a high-end gaming console and a collection of expensive watches. Next, he targeted the Davis family on Oak Avenue. Their security cameras were easily bypassed thanks to a default password that had never been changed. Alex simply logged in and disabled the cameras before using a similar smart lock exploit to gain entry. He made off with a brand new television and a diamond necklace. He even hit a house with a supposedly state-of-the-art security system. But Alex discovered a backdoor in the system's firmware, allowing him to gain administrative access and disable all the security features. He walked away with a laptop, a tablet, and a significant amount of cash. Each successful heist emboldened him, fueling his arrogance and reinforcing his belief that he was untouchable. He saw himself as a master of the digital realm, effortlessly navigating the complexities of modern technology to his own advantage. He was living a double life, a stark contrast between his mundane existence and his thrilling exploits in the digital underworld. But the thrill was blinding him to the growing risks he was taking, and the inevitable consequences that were looming on the horizon. He was about to find out that even the smartest hacker can't outsmart fate. The stolen goods began to accumulate in Alex's apartment. Gaming consoles stacked haphazardly in the corner, designer watches crammed into a shoebox, and a growing pile of cash hidden beneath his mattress. He tried to sell some of the items online, but he was too paranoid to list anything too valuable. He didn't want to attract attention from the authorities. Instead, he mostly kept the stolen goods as trophies, reminders of his successes. He did treat himself to a few luxuries. He bought a new high-end laptop, a top-of-the-line virtual reality headset, and a ridiculously expensive coffee machine. He justified these purchases by telling himself that he deserved them, that he had earned them through his hard work and ingenuity. He ignored the nagging voice in the back of his mind that told him he was doing something wrong. He started taking bigger risks, targeting homes that were more heavily secured. He spent hours researching new exploits, developing custom tools, and refining his techniques. He even started using a virtual private network, VPN, to mask his IP address, making it more difficult for law enforcement to track him down. He felt like he was living in a movie, playing the role of a brilliant criminal mastermind. He reveled in the challenge, the adrenaline rush, the feeling of being in control. He was so focused on the game that he didn't notice the subtle changes in his behavior. He became more isolated, more secretive, more paranoid. He stopped trusting people, convinced that everyone was out to get him. He was spiraling down a dangerous path, and he didn't even realize it. The game was no longer fun, it was becoming an obsession. And obsessions, as he was about to discover, can have devastating consequences. Meanwhile, miles away from Alex's cluttered apartment, the Johnson family was enjoying a typical Saturday morning. Mr. Johnson was grilling burgers in the backyard, Mrs. Johnson was tending to her garden, and their two children, 10-year-old Lily and 8-year-old Tom, were playing video games in the living room. Their home was their sanctuary, a place of comfort and security. They had invested in a smart home system, believing it would provide an extra layer of protection. They had no idea that their reliance on technology would soon make them a target. Mr. and Mrs. Johnson had chosen their smart home devices carefully, opting for brands that were known for their reliability and security. They regularly updated their software and changed their passwords, following the manufacturer's recommendations. They thought they had done everything right, but they were about to learn that even the most diligent precautions can be circumvented by a determined hacker. The Johnson family loved their smart fridge. It not only kept their food cold but also helped them manage their grocery list, plan meals, and even play music. It even had a built-in camera that allowed them to see inside the fridge remotely, a feature they found particularly useful when they were at the grocery store. Little did they know that this seemingly innocuous feature would soon play a crucial role in catching a criminal. Their smart home was designed to make their lives easier, but it was about to become the setting for a real-life drama. A drama that would test their sense of security and remind them that even in the most technologically advanced homes, there's no substitute for old-fashioned vigilance. Alex, driven by his insatiable hunger for the next challenge, had been meticulously scanning the upscale neighborhood where the Johnson family lived. He was looking for a house that screamed wealth but whispered vulnerability. The Johnson residence, with its perfectly manicured lawn, gleaming windows, and an array of visible smart devices, fit the bill perfectly. He spent hours probing their network, using advanced scanning tools to identify any potential weaknesses. He discovered that their alarm system, while relatively modern, had a known vulnerability related to its wireless communication protocol. He also found that their smart lock, despite being from a reputable brand, had a poorly implemented Bluetooth pairing process. It was enough. He saw the Johnson home as the ultimate prize, a symbol of his hacking prowess. He imagined the expensive electronics, the designer jewelry, the piles of cash that might be hidden inside. He envisioned himself effortlessly bypassing their security measures, leaving them completely baffled and humiliated. He felt a surge of excitement, a rush of adrenaline. This was the challenge he had been waiting for. He ignored the warning signs, the nagging feeling that something was different about this house. He dismissed it as mere nervousness, a natural reaction to the high stakes. He was too focused on the reward, too blinded by his own arrogance to see the danger that was lurking just around the corner. He meticulously planned his attack, double-checking every step, ensuring that he left no room for error. He was ready to strike. The Johnsons were about to learn that even the most advanced security systems are no match for a determined hacker. Or so he thought. Under the cloak of a moonless night, Alex approached the Johnson residence. His heart pounded in his chest, a mixture of excitement and apprehension. He carried a small backpack filled with his hacking tools, a laptop, a wireless adapter, and a collection of custom-built software. He moved silently through the shadows, careful to avoid being seen by any neighbors or passing cars. He activated his wireless adapter and began scanning for the Johnsons' alarm system. Within seconds, he had identified the vulnerable wireless protocol. He launched his replay attack, capturing the signal that disarmed the alarm. A green light on the alarm panel flickered off, indicating that the system was now disabled. So far, so good. Next, he targeted the smart lock. He used his Bluetooth spoofing tool to impersonate the Johnson's smartphones, sending the unlock command to the lock. He heard a faint click as the lock disengaged. He gently pushed the door open and slipped inside. The house was dark and silent, illuminated only by the faint glow of the security system's display. He moved cautiously through the living room, his eyes adjusting to the darkness. He could hear the faint hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen. He paused, listening for any signs of life. Nothing. He was alone. He felt a surge of confidence. It was just as easy as he had imagined. The Johnsons were no match for his skills. He had outsmarted them, outmaneuvered their security systems, and gained access to their home without so much as a whimper. He was in control. Or so he thought. He had no idea that the seemingly ordinary refrigerator in the kitchen was about to become his undoing. He moved quickly and efficiently, heading straight for the master bedroom. He knew that's where the most valuable items were usually kept. He rummaged through the jewelry box on the dresser, stuffing necklaces, bracelets, and rings into his backpack. He found a stash of cash hidden in a drawer and added that to his loot. Next, he went to the living room and grabbed the large-screen television off the wall. It was a struggle to carry, but he managed to maneuver it through the door and out to his waiting car. He made several trips back and forth, collecting laptops, tablets, and gaming consoles. He was like a busy little bee, gathering honey for his hive. Meanwhile, in the kitchen, the smart fridge was humming quietly. Unbeknownst to Alex, the fridge's internal software had been scheduled for an automatic update that night. The update included improvements to the fridge's camera software, designed to enhance its object recognition capabilities. As Alex passed by the fridge for what would be his final trip, the software update kicked in. The fridge rebooted, and the camera software began its initialization process. It started scanning the kitchen for familiar objects, milk cartons, vegetable drawers, and, unexpectedly, a human face. The camera software, now running the updated code, detected an unfamiliar face in the kitchen. It immediately logged the event, capturing a snapshot of Alex and recording his IP address. The fridge was designed to communicate with the manufacturer's servers during updates, and this log, along with Alex's IP, was automatically transmitted. Alex, completely oblivious to the silent witness, continued his looting spree, unaware that he was being watched, recorded, and about to be caught. With his car packed full of stolen goods, Alex sped away from the Johnson residence, adrenaline coursing through his veins. He felt an immense sense of relief, knowing that he had pulled off another successful heist. He glanced in his rearview mirror, watching as the Johnsons' house receded into the distance. He chuckled to himself, thinking about how easy it had been. Back at the Johnsons' house, the smart fridge had completed its software update and returned to its normal operating state. The screen displayed the time and temperature, seemingly oblivious to the drama that had just unfolded. However, deep within its memory, the log containing Alex's image and IP address remained, a digital fingerprint waiting to be discovered. The following morning, the Johnson family returned home from their weekend trip. They were greeted by a scene of utter chaos. The front door was ajar, the alarm system was disabled, and their house had been ransacked. Mrs. Johnson gasped in horror, while Mr. Johnson immediately called the police. Lily and Tom were scared and confused. They didn't understand why someone would break into their home and steal their belongings. Their sense of security had been shattered. The police arrived quickly and began their investigation. They dusted for fingerprints, collected evidence, and interviewed the Johnson family. Detective Miller, a young and tech-savvy officer, took the lead on the case. He knew that smart homes could provide valuable clues in investigations, and he was determined to find out what had happened. He started by examining the security system, but it had been completely disabled. Then, he turned his attention to the other smart devices in the house, hoping to find some piece of evidence that could lead him to the culprit. He was about to discover that the key to solving the case was hidden inside the Johnsons' smart fridge. Back in his apartment, Alex was already celebrating his latest victory. He poured himself a glass of champagne, admiring the stolen jewelry and electronics that now adorned his living room. He felt like a king, ruling over his ill-gotten gains. He powered up the stolen laptop and began browsing the internet, feeling a sense of invincibility. However, miles away at the headquarters of Smart Solutions, the manufacturer of the Johnson's smart fridge, an automated alert had been triggered. The company's security system had detected an unusual spike in network activity from a single device, the Johnson's fridge. The system flagged the event as potentially malicious, prompting a security analyst to investigate. The analyst, a sharp young woman named Sarah, reviewed the logs and quickly realized that the fridge had recorded an unauthorized access attempt. She saw the image of Alex, his face illuminated by the fridge's internal light, and the corresponding IP address. She immediately recognized the gravity of the situation and alerted her supervisor. The supervisor contacted the local police department, providing them with the image and IP address. Detective Miller, who was still at the Johnsons' house, received the information and his eyes widened in surprise. He couldn't believe that a smart fridge had captured evidence that could potentially solve the case. He immediately contacted the cybercrime unit, requesting their assistance in tracing the IP address. The hunt for Alex was officially on. The smart fridge, initially intended to help the Johnson family manage their groceries, had become an unexpected weapon in the fight against crime. The Johnson family stood in their ransacked living room, a scene of violation and chaos. Lily clung to her mother, tears streaming down her face. Tom, usually so energetic, stood silently, staring at the empty space where their television used to be. Mr. Johnson paced back and forth, his face etched with anger and frustration. Their home, their sanctuary, had been invaded, their sense of security shattered. "It's going to be all right," Mr. Johnson said, trying to reassure his family, but his voice lacked conviction. He felt a deep sense of responsibility for what had happened. He had believed in the promise of smart home technology, believing it would protect his family. Now, he questioned everything. Detective Miller, sensing their distress, tried to offer some comfort. "We're going to do everything we can to catch the person who did this," he said. We have some promising leads. He didn't want to reveal too much, but he could see the glimmer of hope in their eyes. Meanwhile, the cybercrime unit was working feverishly to trace the IP address provided by Smart Solutions. They quickly determined that it originated from an apartment building just a few blocks away. They obtained a warrant to search the apartment, convinced that they were about to apprehend the culprit. As the police prepared to raid Alex's apartment, Alex himself was blissfully unaware of the impending doom. He was busy admiring his stolen treasures, basking in the glow of his perceived success. He had no idea that his digital world was about to collide with the real world, and that his reign of terror was about to come to an abrupt and humiliating end. The smart fridge, the unlikely hero, had set the stage for his downfall. Detective Miller arrived at Alex's apartment building, a nondescript brick structure nestled in a quiet residential neighborhood. He was accompanied by several officers from the cybercrime unit, their faces grim and determined. They approached Alex's apartment door, weapons drawn, and knocked loudly. Inside, Alex was startled by the sudden noise. He peered through the peephole and saw a group of police officers standing outside his door. His heart skipped a beat. He knew that his time had come. He tried to think of a way to escape, but it was too late. The police officers kicked down the door and stormed into the apartment. Alex was quickly apprehended and handcuffed. The apartment was a mess, filled with stolen electronics, jewelry, and cash. The police officers began collecting evidence, carefully documenting everything they found. Detective Miller approached Alex, his eyes filled with a mixture of anger and disappointment. "It's over, Alex," he said. "We know everything." Alex remained silent, his head bowed in shame. He knew that he had made a mistake, a big one. He had let his arrogance and greed get the better of him. He had thought he was untouchable, but he was wrong. As the police led Alex out of his apartment, a crowd of neighbors gathered in the hallway, watching in disbelief. They couldn't believe that the quiet, unassuming young man who lived among them was a notorious hacker and thief. The smart fridge, the silent witness, had finally brought him to justice. The digital world and the real world had collided, and Alex's life would never be the same. News of Alex's arrest spread quickly, making headlines in local newspapers and television news broadcasts. The story of the smart fridge that caught a hacker became a viral sensation, highlighting the growing importance of cybersecurity in the age of smart homes. The Johnson family was overjoyed to hear that Alex had been apprehended and that their stolen belongings would be returned. They were especially grateful to Detective Miller and the cybercrime unit for their tireless efforts. "We can't thank you enough, Detective," Mrs. Johnson said, her voice filled with emotion. "You've given us our sense of security back." "It was our pleasure, Mrs. Johnson," Detective Miller replied. "We're just glad we were able to bring this guy to justice." Lily and Tom were excited to get their television and gaming consoles back. They had learned a valuable lesson about the importance of online security and the potential dangers of smart home technology. As for Alex, he faced a long prison sentence. He was charged with multiple counts of burglary, theft, and computer fraud. His hacking skills, once a source of pride, had now become his downfall. He had let his arrogance and greed consume him, leading him down a path of destruction. In his jail cell, Alex had plenty of time to reflect on his mistakes. He realized that his actions had not only harmed the Johnson family but also had a ripple effect on the entire community. He had shattered their sense of security and trust, leaving them feeling vulnerable and exposed. He vowed to use his skills for good in the future, hoping to atone for his past transgressions. The smart fridge had not only caught a criminal but had also given him a chance to redeem himself. In the aftermath of Alex's arrest, a wave of concern swept across the smart home industry. Manufacturers rushed to patch vulnerabilities in their devices, and security experts urged consumers to take proactive steps to protect their homes. Smart Solutions, the manufacturer of the Johnson smart fridge, issued a public statement acknowledging the incident and vowing to improve their security measures. They also announced a new bug bounty program, offering rewards to hackers who could identify and report vulnerabilities in their products. "We are deeply sorry for what happened to the Johnson family," the statement read. "We are committed to ensuring the security and privacy of our customers. This incident has been a wake-up call for us, and we are taking steps to prevent similar incidents from happening in the future." Detective Miller became a local hero, praised for his tech savviness and his dedication to solving the case. He gave numerous interviews to the media, emphasizing the importance of cybersecurity and the need for consumers to be aware of the risks associated with smart home technology. "Smart homes offer many conveniences, but they also create new opportunities for criminals," he said. "It's important to take precautions, such as changing default passwords, updating software regularly, and being mindful of what information you share online." The Johnson family, though still shaken by the experience, emerged from the ordeal stronger and more resilient. They replaced their stolen belongings, upgraded their security system, and became vocal advocates for cybersecurity awareness. They had learned a hard lesson, but they were determined to turn their experience into a positive force for change. The smart fridge, once a symbol of their vulnerability, had become a symbol of their resilience and their determination to protect their home and their family. Years later, the story of the smart fridge that caught a hacker became a cautionary tale taught in cybersecurity classes and a popular topic in technology conferences. The incident served as a reminder that even the most mundane devices can play a crucial role in protecting our homes and our communities. Detective Miller continued to work as a police officer, specializing in cybercrime investigations. He became a sought-after expert, sharing his knowledge and experience with law enforcement agencies around the world. The Johnson family moved to a new home, but they never forgot the lessons they had learned. They remained vigilant about their online security and became strong advocates for cybersecurity education. They even started a foundation to raise awareness about the importance of protecting smart homes from cyber threats. As for Alex, after serving his prison sentence, he was released on parole. He had undergone extensive therapy and had expressed remorse for his past actions. He decided to use his hacking skills for good, working as a cybersecurity consultant, helping companies and individuals protect themselves from cyber attacks. He often thought about the smart fridge that had changed his life forever. He realized that it wasn't just a kitchen appliance, it was a symbol of the interconnected world we live in and the importance of using technology responsibly. He hoped that his story would serve as a warning to others, reminding them that even the smartest hackers can't outsmart the power of technology when it's used for good. The smart fridge, the unlikely hero, had not only caught a criminal but had also inspired a change in the world. The news coverage prompted a wide range of reactions. Some people were amused by the story of the fridge that fought back, while others expressed concern about the privacy implications of smart home devices. Some called for stricter regulations on the industry, while others argued that consumers should be responsible for protecting their own data. Many security experts weighed in on the incident, offering advice on how to secure smart homes. They emphasized the importance of changing default passwords, updating software regularly, and using strong encryption. They also warned against sharing too much personal information online and being cautious about clicking on suspicious links. The incident also sparked a debate about the ethical responsibilities of hackers. Some argued that hacking was always wrong, regardless of the intent, while others believed that ethical hacking could play a valuable role in identifying and fixing security vulnerabilities. The case of the smart fridge that caught a hacker became a turning point in the way people thought about cybersecurity and smart home technology. It served as a reminder that technology can be both a blessing and a curse, and that it's up to us to use it responsibly and ethically. The story of Alex and the Johnson family became a modern-day fable, teaching valuable lessons about the importance of security, privacy, and the power of technology to shape our lives. The smart fridge, once just a kitchen appliance, had become a symbol of the digital age and the challenges and opportunities that come with it. It was a story that would be told for years to come, reminding us that even the simplest devices can have a profound impact on our world. The impact of the smart fridge incident extended far beyond the Johnson family and Alex's arrest. It sparked a global conversation about the security and privacy of smart home devices, leading to significant changes in the way these devices are designed, manufactured, and used. Governments around the world began to introduce stricter regulations on the smart home industry, requiring manufacturers to meet higher security standards and to be more transparent about how they collect and use consumer data. Consumers became more aware of the risks associated with smart home technology and began to take more proactive steps to protect their homes. They changed default passwords, updated their software regularly, and used strong encryption. They also became more selective about the devices they brought into their homes, opting for brands that were known for their security and privacy. The smart home industry responded to these concerns by investing heavily in security research and development. They hired teams of cybersecurity experts to identify and fix vulnerabilities in their devices. They also began to work more closely with law enforcement agencies to combat cybercrime. The story of the smart fridge that caught a hacker became a symbol of the power of technology to protect us, but also a reminder of the importance of using technology responsibly. It was a story that would continue to be told for generations to come, inspiring us to be more vigilant, more informed, and more ethical in our use of technology. The smart fridge, the unlikely hero, had left an indelible mark on the world. The Johnson family finally received their stolen belongings back, carefully inventoried and returned by the police. Lily and Tom were overjoyed to see their video game console again, and Mrs. Johnson was relieved to have her grandmother's necklace returned. Mr. Johnson, however, still felt a lingering unease. He decided to take matters into his own hands. He enrolled in a cybersecurity course at the local community college, determined to learn more about how to protect his home and his family from cyber threats. He also became a vocal advocate for stronger security measures in smart home devices, sharing his story with anyone who would listen. One evening, as he was working on a cybersecurity project, Lily came into his study. "Dad," she said, "I want to learn about computers too. Can you teach me how to code?" Mr. Johnson smiled. "Of course, Lily," he said. "I'd be happy to teach you." And so, the Johnson family embarked on a new journey, one that would lead them to a deeper understanding of technology and the importance of using it responsibly. The smart fridge, the unlikely hero, had not only caught a criminal but had also inspired a family to embrace the challenges and opportunities of the digital age. They knew that the world was changing rapidly, and they were determined to be prepared for whatever the future held. They were no longer just consumers of technology, they were active participants, shaping the future of the digital world. And it all started with a smart fridge and a hacker who made one very big mistake. Inside the stark confines of his jail cell, Alex stared at the peeling paint on the wall, the cold reality of his situation sinking in. The thrill of the hack, the adrenaline of the heist, all of it was gone, replaced by a gnawing sense of regret and a heavy weight of consequences. He replayed the events of that night over and over in his head, searching for the moment where everything went wrong. It wasn't the alarm system, it wasn't the smart lock, it was something far more unexpected, a kitchen appliance. A smart fridge. The irony wasn't lost on him. He, a master of the digital realm, had been outsmarted by a refrigerator. He thought about the Johnson family, the fear he must have instilled in them. He thought about Lily and Tom, their sense of security shattered. He felt a pang of guilt, a feeling he hadn't experienced in a long time. He had justified his actions by telling himself that he wasn't hurting anyone, but he knew now that he had been wrong. He had caused real pain and suffering. He also thought about his own wasted potential. He had a gift, a talent for understanding and manipulating technology. He could have used his skills for good, but instead, he had chosen a path of destruction. He had let his arrogance and greed consume him, leading him to this desolate place. He vowed that if he ever got out of jail, he would use his skills for good. He would dedicate his life to protecting people from cyber threats. He would become a force for good in the digital world. The smart fridge, the unlikely hero, had not only caught him but had also given him a chance to find redemption. A chance to turn his life around and make a positive impact on the world. It was a long shot, but it was the only hope he had left. Years passed. Alex, true to his word, dedicated himself to cybersecurity after his release. He started small, volunteering at a local community center, teaching seniors how to protect themselves from online scams. He found a sense of purpose in helping others, a feeling he had never experienced before. He eventually landed a job at a cybersecurity firm, where he used his hacking skills to identify and fix vulnerabilities in computer systems. He quickly rose through the ranks, becoming a respected expert in his field. He even started his own company, specializing in smart home security, determined to prevent others from making the same mistakes he had made. He never forgot the Johnson family. He tried to reach out to them, to apologize for his actions, but he never got a response. He understood. He knew that he had caused them a great deal of pain, and he didn't expect them to forgive him. One day, he was invited to speak at a cybersecurity conference. As he stood on the stage, looking out at the audience, he saw a familiar face. It was Mr. Johnson. Alex hesitated for a moment, unsure of what to do. He decided to go ahead with his presentation, sharing his story and emphasizing the importance of ethical hacking. After his presentation, Mr. Johnson approached him. "Alex," he said, "I want to thank you." Alex was stunned. "Thank me? But You taught us a valuable lesson," Mr. Johnson said. "You showed us that even the smartest technology can be vulnerable, and that we all need to be more vigilant about our security. And you inspired my daughter, Lily, to pursue a career in computer science. She's now working as a cybersecurity engineer." Alex was overcome with emotion. He had finally found redemption. The smart fridge, the unlikely hero, had not only caught him but had also brought him full circle, allowing him to make amends for his past mistakes and to inspire others to do good. His journey had been long and difficult, but it had ultimately led him to a place of peace and purpose. On television screens across the nation, a news anchor reported, and finally, tonight, a look at the growing efforts to secure our smart homes. From stronger encryption to user-friendly security settings, manufacturers are working to make their devices more resistant to cyber attacks. Experts say that consumers also play a crucial role in protecting their homes, by changing default passwords, updating software regularly, and being mindful of the information they share online. The segment featured interviews with cybersecurity experts, smart home manufacturers, and even Detective Miller, who shared his insights on the evolving landscape of cybercrime. The report highlighted the importance of collaboration between industry, law enforcement, and consumers to create a safer digital world. The news report then cut to a brief interview with Lily Johnson, now a successful cybersecurity engineer. "The incident with our smart fridge changed my life," she said. "It made me realize that technology can be both a force for good and a source of vulnerability. I'm committed to using my skills to protect people from cyber threats and to make the digital world a safer place for everyone." The final shot showed a close-up of a smart fridge, its screen displaying the time and temperature, seemingly oblivious to the vital role it had played in shaping the future of cybersecurity. The screen then flashed a simple message: "Stay smart. Stay safe." The story of the smart fridge that caught a hacker had become a legend, a reminder that even the simplest devices can have a profound impact on our lives. It was a story about technology, security, redemption, and the enduring power of the human spirit. And it was a story that would continue to inspire and inform for generations to come. The end.